Okay, you guys, we're gonna work with color, and I want you to do self-portraits. Um, I'm gonna try and have you do it without doing any drawing. You're gonna draw with a paintbrush to figure this out. This is the first self-portrait that I did. This is without my hat, so the light's falling down on my forehead, and what I look for is a body color. I went right into the center of the forehead, and the body color would be like this color on the back of my hand. So that's just kind of the flat color, right? And it's kind of an orangey, yellow, white. Everybody's going to have a different color skin. So you go back and you think about the earth colors that you mixed up last week. You can mix. You should mix the color that's on the back of your hand. That would be a good exercise to do first, and just put it down. And what you kind of need to do is find the body color, find a highlight, which would be maybe like right here. That's a highlight. It's not really apparent if I do this. Okay, that's the body color. This would be a highlight, and then this would be in shadow. So if you use just your hand, you don't have to paint your hand. Just find those three tones, because that echoes these three tones. This is the body color, here's the highlight, and here's a shadow, which can, it can have a lot of color in it. I see purples and reds in this, kind of browns. So I just put them down. Now, it might take you a little bit of work to get this, just in terms of finding the color. Find the color intensity. Your eye sees things differently observing. I'm using a mirror. Use a mirror, because just working from a photograph, the camera doesn't catch the nuance of what you really see or really show the color. So I want to see how you react to what you see with color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a completely different situation. I'm going to have you guys do 4 of these, I think. And each one of them should be a little bit different light. You can shift around a little bit, throw shadows on one side of your face, the other side of your face, maybe above, wear a hat. Something completely different happens if you pan up to the mirror. When I look into the mirror, the light, the shadow that falls down through here, it's very different than this situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you right how to do it right here and now. And I'm just going to start it. I doubt if I'll finish it. It's a little more complex than this. So it might take me a little bit of time. But what I see predominantly when I look into the middle of the forehead is kind of a reddish brown, right in the middle of the forehead, right here. So I'm going to mix that up. And I got my palette here. You could be using a plate or a couple plates. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that right into the middle of the forehead. So right away we establish a brown. And to me, one thing I noticed like right away too is that this is kind of orangish right here. And then that these shadows that come down underneath. You're going to build this thing like a puzzle. Rather than putting a lasso of a line around the outside, I don't care if this shifts. This is 6 by 10, this is 6 by 9. I changed it to 6 by 10, but if it shifts out, if you've got to get more of your face in there, just do it. It's just a line, just go over the top of it. So I'm going to go for that shadow. I'm going to go for the shadow that falls in my eye sockets. That's going to be where the most color is in the shadows. There's underneath my nose, and I might not have to give any more of a description than that. It is actually quite dark, and it almost goes to a reddish blue, or purple, like this. My eyelids go darker in this and in this, so I'm slowly working this up. I'm leaving the eyes alone, just because that's kind of the candy at the end of the whole thing. Now I got a little bit of white, and you can put out some white acrylic. But what I'm doing is I'm going to go for this high-keyed pink that's in my cheek. And it's also kind of on my nose, although my nose is really kind of catches a white, right like that. And it's just the ridge. So I don't need much more than that nose like that. It's already established. I'm going to go back into these purples again. I'm mixing. My tray's a little messed up here, but I'm going to go into this. And this just builds in increments. The forehead goes way up into here. It's way in shadow. and it may go to a blue. Color is light, and with the light that's above me, it really shows up. It really shows up. So that makes my lips are a lot more purple. In this, they're orange. It's kind of more, it's a daylight. This is night right now that I'm working, so the light's a very different situation. And I see already that I need more space. So I'm just going outside of this square. It just doesn't matter. There's my ear, and it's really kind of a dark red. That helps measure things out. It's always good to put it on there. So then it's just a puzzle to put in the rest of this. I've got a hat on my head. It's got kind of a light brown, and I'm just going to put that up there. That establishes the light. You can play with that, but then the underside of it is dark brown, or almost a reddish brown. So I just put that in there like this, and it goes right to here, and they bump up to each other, kind of like that. And that can go even darker. It might even take a little bit of blue. So you kind of layering things up. That's the thing about these watercolors, they're transparent, and you can layer things up. Things occur as you go along. The eyelid. Eyelids are really important. They're the shape of the eye. That's a little heavy, but I can wipe that out and change it. And because I put that there, I'm just going to go for the eye, which is going to be kind of a light blue. And eyes might be two different colors. There's an eye established right there. And here's another one, like right here. Usually I leave those things to the end, but since I put a mark in there, I'm just going for it. A little shadow like right here. And then a really funny shadow falls off my mustache, which is like, I saw a green in the shadow here, but now it seems more like a purple. And I'm just gonna put that down, like right here. So my beard goes blue-white, and I'm just going to put this down here. So you're just reacting and putting color down. I don't care if this goes down into here. I can cover that up. I catch some white like right here. And, my beard, my mustache is gray. It's not really white because this is white. And when I look in the mirror, it's a gray. So I'm going after that. Just go after it this way because it's a truer way to make and see color. Your eye does the work optically. The other thing that's interesting, the white of the eye isn't really white. It's kind of a blue. It's kind of a blue-white or a gray. So it's going to take a little bit of work to work this thing up. And I'll show you the end results. I'll take some photos as it works its way along. There's the white of the eye. Here's the white of the eye right here. And then this goes down like this. And then this goes into kind of a shade. And this has gotten bigger. I don't care. It's a little out of control, but it's going for what I see. I've got a green sweater on compared to a blue sweater in this. And then it goes off to the side here and catches a little bit of yellow in there. That yellow is kind of hard. You got to mix a lot of water into it to get it to come up. But there it starts to show up, and already that's starting to look like a head. So it's really interesting to kind of watch this develop. Don't put any outlines around it. Don't work from a photograph. Just work it up. Work it up. Look at your face as color, and don't even think of it as a portrait of yourself. Just think about it as a paint head. You just happen to be available to sit. This isn't going to go on your driver's license. It's a painting. So it's getting made out of paint. And that means that it might not be a great likeness. Doesn't matter. And I'm going to show you some different painters who work in this way because it's true painting, but it can also be true illustration. Say if something gets a little bit too wet, I can do this. I can pull that up. That eye gets a little wonky, but I can fix that. And what happens is, when I see it, it goes really, really red, that eyelid. Something like that. And I can go back and get that. This bottom of this nose goes red here too. You see these little nuances of color. And that is like really a strong dark like up on my brow up here. And this does go really, really purple up in here. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. I'm going to go back into that eye just because I kind of want to establish it. Don't put in the reflection that you see in your eye, okay? That's for high finish work. Just put the color of your eye. And one eye may be different than the other. Just don't do that because it's a convention and it only works if it's highly, highly developed, mostly with oil painting. Okay, we're not doing that. This is illustration quality work. We're just trying to put an idea down. Okay, this might go black like right up in here, which is more like a gray. It takes a long time to get this black to come up. And on the other side, my head's in shadow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just knock in a strong green. I can knock that out of there. It's pretty forgiving if you're loose with it. And this shadow goes down underneath here like this. So that's good. And then I would put in a background color. I would say it seems kind of gray to me. Let's see what happens when I just bump that up against it. You know, get rid of the white. Figure something out. That kind of shows up. That's not bad. And then I notice that this catches white like right here too. And white right here. You know, try to choose a pose that you can hold, that you can go back to. You're going to slip out of it, but you know you can kind of get it. And I see that up on my brow that there's a heavy shadow that falls like right in here. So I'm going to go for it boldly and say that it's reddish, and that up here too it goes more red, and maybe it's purple. So that shadow, that hat, which I need to work on, you know, but I can refine it over time. It's going to take a little bit of time. I want you to do 4 of these, like I said, and just explore it as color. I don't care if it looks like you. I just want you to work things up. Let me see if there's anything else that I forgot to say. You know, don't sweat the nose when you do the nose. It's just this is just kind of a ridge here, and then there's a shadow underneath it. It's the same here. Don't worry about drawing a nose like really, really completely. In the eye sockets, yeah, it's going to go darker, like right in here. That's the deepest part of the skull, so that's where the shadow goes. That's where you'll see shadow. And just, you know, put it in as a color. That's starting to get away from me, but, you know, you can wipe it out. It's not a big deal. And then down in here, wow. This really changes too. I'm just going to put this in, and then I'm going to stop, which is that this goes really, really red, like right in here, down by my cheek, something like that. And you see that face start to emerge from the paint, and also in here. It's really, really dark. I get a strong line that goes down here because I'm getting old. This can be worked into. This is just going to work up in increments. That's what you need to know. You're just going to play and make a paint head, and just have fun with it. You're already doing it with the washes. Just don't lay down a pencil drawing or an ink drawing first, because that's going to control you. You can control this from working from your way inside out. Okay, that's it.